Cole delivers it just high at the numbers, but catches the bottom, that top part of the zone, making this count 0-1 here with 2 outs. And Brooklyn Jackson, so far, she's had a triple, and yes, a triple that was down the right field line, and she grounded out in her second at bat. This one batted to Violet Richardson, makes the behind the back grab and retires. It's a peeler on the backhand.
What a play by Richardson, being able to keep that ball out of the outfield and save a run, or save an opportunity here for the Beacons.
So quick 3 up, 3 down for Emily Cole and the Beacons as they look to attack here in the bottom of the 6th. It's going to be Ashlyn Martin, Violet Richardson, and Sarah Martin again here in the top of the 6th, or bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. And we return. Bottom of the 6th, where it's Ashlyn Martin, the right-handed batter to the Sheldon alumni. Seeing this clean slate pitch come down low at the knees. And that's called for ball 1.
Yeah, this is the opportunity where Bushnell really needs to get some runners on base.
Yeah, this almost feels like an inning where getting people on base and scoring is make or break. You don't want to go into the bottom of the 7th playing catch-up. So that count 1-0 coming down. And Venner doing an excellent job at tying this one at 1 apiece here in the count against Ashlyn Martin as she re-enters the circle. Sets herself down low as she's done all day. The twist and fire from Venner. This one popped up by Martin off the cage. So the count 1-2 here with no outs. Carroll in the Fighting Saints still leading this matchup by 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th. Ashlyn Martin looking to change that as the leadoff hitter. The 1-2 firing away. This one trying to be put down in play by Martin, but it is fouled off the left field line. And this is kind of a moment for Ashlyn Martin and the Beacons to put themselves in takeover mode.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This is the best part of their order here with Martin and then Richardson following her. So this is the best chance they have to put some runs on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of their moment. Venner sets herself down low. Delivers the 1-2 just off the side of the plate, called for a ball.
Again, we apologize for the win.
Yeah, the wind's a little bad right now, but it's okay. So Venner putting herself in a 2-2 scenario, tied like laces. Sends this one down, wheels as it tries to drop into the top of the zone, but will miss. So that's called ball 3.
Yeah,
Full count scenario for Ashlyn Martin.
Yeah, and I like the pitch there. Just couldn't quite get the drop that she wanted on there.
Yeah, no, it didn't fall into the zone like it had earlier, but just another excellent pitch by Venner. So the 3-2, trying to finish it, delivers it home, swung all the way through, and that will do it. So Ashlyn Martin racks up the 7th strikeout in her back-to-back strikeouts. So Venner has 7.
Number 15, Violet Richardson.
And Ashlyn Martin went back-to-back in strikeouts. And another person who's had a little bit of a tough day, Violet Richardson. She's also been struck out twice in this matchup against Venner. Taking a little bit of a time. There was a little bit of a music interruption here in the bottom of the 6th. But it's the right-handed batter, Violet Richardson, looking to score some points. Sees that first pitch come across the top of the zone at the letters. And that's going to be called for ball 1 here in the bottom of the 6th. And Richardson has 4 home runs on the year. Trying to make it 5. Trying to extend a little bit of Bushnell. Catches that second ball at the bottom of the zone. What a keen eye by Violet Richardson.
Yeah, great eye just off the plate there, missing right. or missing left, excuse me.
So Venner, 2 balls, no strikes here. Here comes the pitch. This one swung hard by Richardson, but it is going to be off that third baseline, and it's fouled. So she'll take the short trip from first all the way back to the plate. She's got a little bit of a smile on her face. I think she knows that something that she likes is coming. She might finally get a hold of a pitch from Venner to put it in play.
Yeah, and if I were Venner here, I would try to be a little bit more passive. You know, there's no reason to give her something perfect to hit here and give up a possible run.
Yeah, it might be a situation where she'll have to go back to the dropper. So the twist and fire from Venner. This one swung all the way through again by Richardson. And that's Richardson's 3rd strikeout in the day. And that totals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strikeouts for Venner. And that's Sarah Martin entering the right side box. Or excuse me, still with Violet Richardson, it was called foul. So now, count's still the same at 2-2. I apologize. There was a late call on that one. But it's great to see that Violet Richardson's still finding her way to fight here. So Venner with the 2-2. Twist and fires. This one popped up high by Richardson as it flies out the back.
Yeah, and Richardson seeing the ball great. Lots of contact. Had a good eye this at bat. Definitely looking for her pitch here.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. There's a reason that she's one of the most dangerous hitters in the CCC right now. Someone who can put the ball in play and has a high average for a reason. The 2, twist and firing again. Slung up high by the eyes of Violet Richardson.
Yeah, and it's rare that you see power and average in combination for these hitters, but that's definitely why she's hitting cleanup here for the Beacons.
Absolutely. A tough moment for the Beacons where they're down 2, but Violet Richardson looking to change it. The full count. This one batted off the bottom part, swung through by Jackson as it gets through the gap.
What an excellent piece of hitting here from Violet Richardson. Patience is key for her.
Yep, put down a little worm burner.
26, Sarah Martin.
And just getting through right the glove of Jackson.
Yeah, it just feels like the opportunity here is opened up for the Beacons with a runner on and Sarah Martin coming to the plate.
Yeah, this feels like a moment where finally the Beacons have a runner on first, Sarah Martin coming up to bat and putting themselves in a good position. Clean slate pitch seen by Martin down the heart of the strike zone. That's going to make for strike 1.
Yeah, and sometimes a little spark is all you need to get a massive rally going, so this is a perfect opportunity here.
I used to be told that hits were contagious, and I still believe that to this day. It's easy to go from 1 to 2.
Oh yeah, there's something to be said about momentum in this game.
So Martin pops this one up. It's shallow, bobbled by Labrum, but she will haul in. The shallow popped up in foul territory. So unfortunately for Sarah Richardson, for Sarah Martin, that pop out is going to make for the 2nd out of the inning, keeping Violet Richardson on first. But Riley Peeler, the first baseman, who's had excellent play so far tonight, has a clean slate against Venner. Swung through by Peeler. Peeler's 1 for 1 so far. She's been walked in the first at-bat. She got on base in her 2nd at-bat. And now here in her 3rd at-bat, we'll decide to see how she plays this. So count 0-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. Carroll still lead this by 2. Venner, the delivery. This one batted down the right field line, and it's going to be a routine play by Labrum, who bobbled the ball originally, but finds a way to secure the out. So that's going to make a 1-2, skip a few, make it 3 here in the bottom of the 6th. So top 7 action on the Bushnell Streaming Network. Don't go anywhere. And we're going to bring ourselves back here in the top of the 7th, where the Beacons are not looking for any more runs to be scored by the Fighting Saints. So Ellie Kerber, that right-handed batter, finding that first pitch just on the inside.
And Emily Cole, there's something to be said about her efficiency in games, being able to close games out in the end and being able to be consistent throughout. So they're really looking for her to be consistent here in the end.
So Cole with the 0-1. The wind and deals just low off the foot. And that's going to make this count 1-1 here in the top of the 7th. The leadoff hitter in Kerber right before we go back to the top of the order. And then that will bring up Slater and Thomas. This one laced down over to Mead and thrown to Peeler and makes for a quick out. So that'll bring up the first out and bring back the speedy Katie Slater, who so far is 1 for 2 on the night, but she was walked earlier in her third at bat. So now coming in her fourth at bat, trying to see a clean slate pitch from Emily Cole. This one tattooed hard into right field, and it's going to be dropped right in front of Brianna Wilson, and that's an extra base hit for Katie Slater.
Yeah, and the error by Wilson unfortunately gets Slater to second and in scoring position here for Carroll.
Yeah, that one dropped right off the front of the glove of Wilson. And that's going to bring up Kenna Thompson. Kenna Thompson, who is 1 for 3 so far in her at-bats, has a runner on second here in the top of the 7th. Emily Cole, clean slate here with 1 out. Clean slate, fires it away on the inside and will catch for strike 1.
Yeah, and for the Saints, Katie Slater is exactly who they want at second in this position. Being able to put a ball out in the outfield, she will likely score.
Yeah, if Thomas finds a way to put this one in any far parts of the right or left field, it will see Katie Slater come in, but Cole and the defense are looking to avoid. The 0-1 firing. This one is shortly put into play. Ashlyn Martin trying to make the play at first, is in time, and that counts for out number 2. And Ashlyn Martin, although she did have a mistake earlier, has really made up for it with the plays that she's gone through at shortstop. And although the throws by her haven't been the greatest, Peeler's done an excellent job at the scoop.
Absolutely. The tandem of her and Peeler have been great, being able to make great plays in the infield.
So that's going to bring up Sammy Labrum, the first baseman, here for her third at-bat. She's flown out 3 different times. Once to Rondo, once to Martin, that was the shallow one in left field, and then once to Wample. So the 1-0 pitch, firing through, swung all the way through, and then makes this count 1-1 here with 2 outs in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, I don't know about you, CJ. I would think that Riley Peeler has had the best defensive game so far for Bushnell, being able to have a few digs at first and save some runs.
You have to have the conversation that her play at first has been a monumental part of the score being the same. So that second pitch coming off the inside part of the plate, making this count 2-1, and something that we had talked about earlier where the Fighting Saints went 2, 3, and 4, all scored 1 runs, and now we're pretty quiet through 5 and 6. This one thrown down and laced all the way out of this left side field, right side part of the field, making this count 2-2 here with 2 outs.
Yeah, and it's not like we've had a lack of base runners either. You know, every team has been able to get runners on. It's just getting them in home. That is the problem that they've had here today.
So Emily Cole, the 2-2, on its way, down and high at the top part of the zone, and that will make it a full count scenario for Emily Cole. And this is something, again, we had talked about earlier on in the game where getting caught into the latter part of the innings is tough for any pitcher. The 3-2, firing away. This one batted up high, and it is going to be out of Rich Schwab right behind us.
Yeah, this is a crucial out here for Emily Cole. Really needs to get Bushnell out of this inning.
And I think this just comes back to Emily Cole having trust in her defense. and understanding that it's okay that the ball doesn't have to be perfect for a strikeout. Cole, the wind and deal, sends it up high at the letters. That walks Sammy Labrum. So now runners at first and second in Labrum and Slater.
Now batting number 28, Morgan
Yeah, and that brings up
Sunchild.
Morgan Sunchild, who's had an excellent day today here for the Saints.
Morgan Sunchild so far has a double, has a single, and flew out in her first at bat. That one was the Shiloh Mead, another short little fly ball that was almost a direct liner, honestly. But Cole now has runners on first and second, as Sunchild in the right-handed batter's box. Clean slate coming through. Just on the inside, and will catch for strike one.
Yeah, and Sunchild up to bat as we're getting some sunlight as well on the field later here in the 6th inning after a few innings of rain.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have a little bit of sun poking through the gray sky. Hopefully gives some hope for the Beacons. The 0-1, this one batted down to Mead, but will not go through. And Slater will find her way all the way around the bases and score number 4 for Carroll and the Fighting Saints. Sammy Labrum advances the third, and Sunchild puts herself in an excellent position on second. So another extra base hit for Morgan Sunchild, splitting up the middle.
Yeah, and for the Saints here, they got
Pitching
2
number
runners in
22,
scoring
Ella
position,
Seaman.
opportunity to really break this game open.
This is a tough scenario for the Bushnell Beacons. Again, falling behind and trying to have to play catch up here in the after this inning would have to be in the bottom of the 7th. It is their last opportunity. They're down 3 runs to tie it. That would make it 4-4. And then finally, they would have an in-conference win. But if they don't, the team falls to 0-7 in the Cascade Conference.
Yeah, and I think here, if you're Bushnell, you're trying not to get rattled. Just stay in the moment, try to get through this inning.
And a little bit of a conversation by Shauna Juarez in the home plate officiant. That's why you're seeing the delay of game. Morgan Sunchild will pull out of this as Bryn Notbaum is going to pinch run for Morgan Sunchild on second. So the umpire coming in to tell us that. And pinch hitting is going to be Ella Seaman for Alyssa Libber. So Seaman's first at bat of the day. This one caught on the inner part of the zone. And the count is 0-1 for Seaman. But an excellent opportunity for Emily Cole to end this inning. Finally get some breathing room. Cole sends the 0-1. This one bombed off the right side out of Rich Schwab. It's foul. So Cole kind of in a position of where she wants to be. She can hit the finisher right here at a count of 0-2 against Seaman. The 0-2 firing away. This one through the glove of Peeler. But the throw at first will not be in time by Shiloh Mead. And Seaman gets on first.
Yeah, just another error in the field here for Bushnell. Definitely not helping them late in the game.
Yeah. That one will be E4. It just had gone through the glove of Peeler, trying to make a play at first. Mead came up right behind and tried to lob it, it seemed like.
Yeah, she couldn't get the handle on it right away. Unfortunately, caused a lot of chaos over there by first.
So Carly Smith, seeing this first pitch, decides to bat this one behind us. And keeping the top of the 7th alive for the Bushnell Beacons. Excuse me, for the Carroll Fighting Saints against the Bushnell Beacons. Score is currently 6-1 in favor of the Carroll Fighting Saints here in the top of the 7th. The count 0-1. Emily firing that one down the heart. And they're going to let Seaman take second because you do have a runner on third.
And I feel like it wouldn't be the worst decision to throw that down to second with 2 outs if you're confident in your catcher's arm to end the inning there.
So this count 0-2 for Emily Cole. Trying to deliver the final blow. Will she? This one batted all the way through, splitting the field from Ashlyn Martin. Run number 8 will come in for the Fighting Saints. And now it's runners on each corners for the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, excellent contact there by Carly Smith, being able to shoot it right back up the middle and score a run.
So Carly Smith doing a great job of batting in more runs. So Seaman will be on third.
Yeah, what do you think the conversation looks like here on the mound for Bushnell, trying to get their spirits right?
I think really the conversation just needs to be, let's get out of it. Let's finish this inning strong and go into the bottom of the 7th with, let's leave it all out there. You need 7 runs to tie it in the bottom of the 7th, and something that what most would call improbable, I think the Beacons would scoff at and say that it's doable. You can never count out until it's over. So Cole, count 0-2, runners on each corner. Sends this one high. A little bit of a wild pitch scenario is going to advance the runner as the umpire couldn't quite get out of the way fast enough for Gracie Hamilton, but regardless. So no longer is there a runner on first, but now a runner on second. And Carly Smith. Seaman on third. So the umpire coming to correct the count here into the right behind us. We wanted to make sure that the count on the scoreboard read correctly, but the score still isn't correct, it looks like. I have 3 runs this inning.
Yeah, a little issue here with the score, but we seem to have it all figured out.
So the score, after small debate, it's 6-1 here in the top of the 7th. So it's a 5-point deficit as Liz Ybarra swings all the way through on this one and making the count 1-1. We apologize for that confusion for those watching at home. So the count 1-1 for Emily Cole. Runners on second and third. Fires it away. This one tipped off the bottom of the barrel by Ybarra. So count being 1-2, and this could be where Emily Cole finds her stride. Just trying to end the inning, an inning that, quite frankly, has lasted a little bit too long for the liking of Cole and the Beacons. And they just want to go back on offense. So Cole in the circle, winds and deals, sends it just off the plate. And now we're tied. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 runners on the bags. Here in the top of the 7th, where the score is 6-1 in favor of the Carroll Fighting Saints. Cole recenters herself in the circle. Fires it away. This one batted to Violet Richardson, just needing to make the play at first, and it is complete. Violet Richardson to Riley Peeler, and that will do it here in the top of the 7th. We'll be right back for bottom of the 7th action, where the Beacons look to mount a tremendous comeback. Do not leave your seats, because it could get interesting. And we find ourselves bottom of the 7th action. Brianna Wilson, Gracie Hamilton, Shiloh Mead right after that, where the Beacons are looking to mount a 5-run comeback here in the bottom of the 7th. That one taken at the knees, called for strike 1 for Brianna Wilson. And Venner, who's done an excellent job tonight, has 6 strikeouts so far to her name.
Yeah, it's been an excellent game for Venner. Her command has been on point, just being able to put pitches right where she needs them.
Excuse me, 7. Sends this second one down the heart of the strike zone, and now an unfamiliar territory for Brianna Wilson being down 0-2.
Yeah, and Venner with that season ERA of 6.2, being able to really lower that with that performance today.
So Venner putting herself down low in the circle. Spins it and fires. This one batted up high for Brianna Wilson, but it flies out of Rich Schwab.
Yeah, and we've talked about Venner's ability to go the distance. You know, 6 complete games and 9 appearances. She really is able to go the entire game.
So if Carroll can finish this out, they will improve to 6-11, and the Bushnell Beacons will fall to 5-12. They'll improve their conference record to 3-4, while the Bushnell Beacons will fall to 0-7. Brennan Wilson re-enters the right side batter's box, right foot on that back line. The pitch from Venner coming home, drops on in the middle of the strike zone. We've seen the dropper earlier, and she gets Brianna Wilson looking and gets her 8th strikeout of the night.
How about number 3, Gracie Hamilton?
Gracie Hamilton, the catcher, finding her way into the right sided batter's box, trying to face Venner for a 3rd time tonight. That first pitch coming down low, but he's called for strike 1, catching it at the top of the knees. So 1 strike, 1 out here for the Carroll Fighting Saints, just looking to close out the Beacons. That second pitch coming through the dropper again. Will the check swing go? It is called safe. She did not go all the way around.
Yeah, and that dropper seems to really be giving Bushnell problems.
Absolutely, the way that it just falls, because it looks too high and then it just drops last minute. So count being 1-1 with 1 out. Venner trying to get Hamilton. That one sent high at the letters, called for ball 2.
Yeah, I think Venner has done an excellent job mixing up her weapons throughout the game. You know, being able to change the speed of the pitch, change the location. I think that's given Bushnell a lot of issues.
Yeah, Venner's consistency so far tonight has been a problem. This one coming through, batted deep, but caught in the shallow part by Thomas.
Now batting number 5, Shiloh Mead.
So now, Shiloh Mead coming up, and the last opportunity for the Bushnell Beacons to mount what would be a tremendous comeback here into the bottom of the 7th. That one skipping off the bottom of the floor. Shiloh Mead will get ball 1 here early.
That one seemed to get away from Varner there, landing a few feet before the plate.
Yeah, that one catching Venner indeed, the right-handed pitcher. Sets herself down low again. Winds and deals here. Call that ball 2. So 2 balls for Shiloh Mead. Excellent eye so far. She's actually had an excellent eye all day, but she is 0 for 2 so far in her at-bats. The 2-0 flying down. Catches the left side and called for strike 1.
Yeah, no reason here not to be aggressive for Shiloh Mead. Got absolutely nothing to lose here in the bottom of the 7th. Just got to try to put some runners on base.
Yeah, that one high and tight by Venner. The 2-1 delivering another inside pitch, just not catching. And Shiloh Mead putting herself in a perfect position. Hitter's choice, 3-1. It's really a part where the thought of protecting the plate kind of eases your shoulders. Venner delivering that 3-1 on the inside, chopped and fouled. And now Venner with an opportunity to close out the bottom of the 7th. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Shiloh Mead, the last batter in the order.
Yeah, a little meeting on the mound here, probably just trying to talk about, you know, staying in the moment, being able to just close this game out here for Carroll.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that conversation was just about finishing the job. So full count for the right-handed batter versus the right-handed pitcher. Venner sends it through. Mead going all the way through. And that will make for Venner's 9th strikeout on the afternoon. And unfortunately pack away the Bushnell Beacons here in game 1 as they fall 1-6 at home at Rich Schwab. And that'll do it for game 1. The Bushnell Beacons unfortunately fall to 5-12, and their conference record now 0-7, as the Carroll Fighting Saints will improve to 6-11, and they're in conference advancing to 3-4.
Yeah, unfortunate loss here for Bushnell, but we do have to talk about the performance of Kennedy Varner. Unbelievable pitching outing today.
Yeah, Kennedy Varner having a night for herself if we count it all through. 1, 2 in the first, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that is going to be her final line through 7 innings. And that's going to do it here for us on the Bushnell Streaming Network for Game 1. Don't go anywhere and don't leave your seats, because pretty soon we're going to be up for Game 2 here on the Bushnell Streaming Network. So after a short break, we will return. Well, we're good and alive for Game 2 here in Rich Schwab Field, where it was an unfortunate sight where Bushnell dropped the first game 6-1, and falling in the standings as well, going 5-12, 0-7 in conference. The Carroll Fighting Saints coming into Rich Schwab, catching the win, advancing to 6-11 and 3-4 in the conference.
Yeah, Bushnell had a really hard time getting going in the latter half of the innings. They had a good start to the game, but just couldn't find a rhythm later on.
Yeah, indeed, it was really hard for them to catch up once the Fighting Saints got going. And in the middle of the circle is going to be Sarah Martin coming out to play today. In the middle of the circle, Martin, who's facing Slater, is now even at a count of 1-1 here in the top of the first. So
Slater did well in the previous game, stealing a base in the first inning.
So this one batted down over to the shortstop. That's Kenworthy, and retires it to full and wider for the first out of the inning. Going 6-3 here early and quick for Katie Slater. So that will retire the first batter, as it's going to be Sammy Labrum. Sammy Labrum facing Martin as that first pitch comes down the middle of the strike zone, called for strike one. So going through the defense real quick is going to be Sarah Martin in the circle, followed by Montana Love just behind the dish, Maddie Fullenwider at first, Shyla Mead at second, Taylor Kenworthy at shortstop, and Violet Richardson at third. As that second pitch comes in for strike number 2 for Sarah Martin and the Beacons. She has Sammy Labrum right where she wants her, going 0-2 down in this count. And then rounding out left to right is Wilson, Wambolt, and Peeler. This second pitch coming through, being called for third pitch. So now it's 1-2 with one out here for Sarah Martin. Sarah Martin, she's 3-3 on the year. Her ERA is not too shabby either at 2.28 with a whip of 1.3. This one swung all the way through for Sammy Labrum, and that'll make for Sarah Martin's first strikeout of the afternoon. Right before the rain starts to fall here in Rich Schwab Field, there's a little bit of drizzling as we're trying to get this one going on fast and not have a rain delay. So 2 outs for Sarah Martin, making quick work here in the top of the first. That pitch, clean slate. This one batted directly back to Martin, and she'll throw it to Fullenwider to go 3 up, 3 down very quickly here in the top of the first. So we'll be right back on the Bushnell Streaming Network. Here on the bottom of the first, coming up is going to be Taylor Kenworthy, Haley Wambolt, and Ashlyn Martin. And we return here in the top of the second. The shortstop, Taylor Kenworthy, making her first appearance in this 2-game doubleheader today. This is game number 2, and the bottom of the first. It's Taylor Kenworthy leading off to Oklahoma by Luke Combs. And that's Abby Amend in the circle for Carroll.
Yeah, we've talked about Abby Amend. She's had a good start to her season. I mean, pretty good strikeout to walk ratio of 29-16, but a little bit of a rough ERA and 1-6 record on the season.
Abby Amend rocking in that one as Kenworthy swings all the way through. And that's going to tie this count apiece at 1-1. So Abby Amend looking to do the same as Sarah Martin and make a quick work to head back on offense. Abby Amend with the 1-1, delivers it high at the letters. And that's going to make this 2-1. Her highest strikeouts on the year is 7 against College of Idaho, number 24 in the NAIA ranking. So Kenworthy slapping that one out foul on the right side. And now we're tied. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No outs here as Taylor Kenworthy is trying to lead off here in the bottom of the first. Amen setting herself in the circle. Winds and deals with the left. Lets it fly down low at the ankles. And full count for the left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, good eye there by Kenworthy, looking not to chase that offering from Abby Amend.
So Kenworthy seeing the full count, will get caught looking for strike 3. And that makes for Abby Amend's first strikeout on a looker against Taylor Kenworthy.
Yeah, great pitch from Abby Amend. They're able to paint the
Number
corner,
23,
get
Haley
Kenworthy
Wumble.
looking.
So now it's Haley Wamble, somebody who has already had sizable amount of impact on this game. Haley Wamble with the clean slate, coming to her, takes a half swing, but doesn't go all the way around. And that one's called ball 1. So huge break for Haley Wamble in the Beacons on what could have been a check swing strike, but ended up not being.
Yeah, absolutely. She was able to check her swing nicely there.
The 1-0, firing home, down at the ankles again. That's going to be called for ball 2.
Yeah, I don't know about UCJ, but I feel like with this game and the previous game, the strike zone has been pretty consistent the entire time by the umpire.
I would say the behind the plate umpire has been very effective with the strike zone today. This one batted hard down the left field. It will not stay fair as it just catches the outer part of the line. So Haley Wamble, knowing that she made great contact on that ball, with a little bit of a smile on the jog back to the plate, she'll have another opportunity at this, the count being 2-1 now.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, just every foul ball increases confidence. Just being able to put the bat to the ball, like, increases your chances the next pitch of putting it in play.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wamble and the Beacons made a lot of contact in game 1, but couldn't get it too much into play. So this 2-1, Wamble laces this one deep into right, and it will be caught on the hands of Kerber.
What a play out there in right field, being able to move over and snag that ball.
Yeah. So Haley
Number 9, Ashlyn
Wamble flies out to Emily Kerber in right field on a ball that could have dropped fair, but Kerber beating it out. So Ashlyn Martin will step into the right-handed batter's box and catch strike 1 in her first pitch. So 2 outs for the Fighting Saints so far here in the bottom of the first, with a count of 0-1 for Abby Amend. Sends the dropper just into the top part of that zone, and now it's 0-2.
Excellent off-speed pitch there by Amend, able to mix up her weapons nicely.
So Abby Amend, 0-2 on Ashlyn Martin. The swing all the way through by Ashlyn will make that strikeout number 2. So that retires the third batter for the Bushnell Beacons. And we'll be right back for top of the second action, where it's going to be Morgan Sunchild, Carly Smith, and Brooklyn Jackson entering the order. Don't go anywhere, because top of the second action is right behind. And the leadoff hitter for the Carroll Saints here in the top of the second is going to be Morgan Sunchild. Morgan Sunchild, what a game she had in game number 1 of this doubleheader. She had a double and a single, had 2 doubles actually, and went 3 for 4 in her at bats.
Yeah, Sunchild looking to carry over that momentum from game 1 to the second half of the doubleheader here.
Sunchild seeing the first pitch at the knees, won't be called for strike 1, so Sunchild ahead early. Martin, who is so accurate with the command, just trying to find that here. Catches The second one just off the top part and will not be called for a strike, so another ball. And Morgan Sunchild not having to work too hard. Sarah Martin in the circle, lets it fly, down at the knees. Called ball 3. So 3 balls, no strikes, definitely hitter's choice, and Morgan Sunchild, something that she's excited about.
Yeah, I think if you're Sunchild, you're take all the way here, you know. Sarah Martin hasn't been able to find the strike zone right now.
Martin slings that one, and it will find the inside part for strike 1. Finally breaking the curse. So 3 balls and 1 strike for the Bushnell Beacons and Sarah Martin. As she lines, the 3-1 comes home on the inside part of the zone and will be called for ball 4. So that advances Morgan Sunchild on a base on balls scenario. And now Carly Smith coming in. She's the designated player for this matchup.
How about number 31, Carly Smith?
I think we're going to get a pinch runner for Morgan Sunchild, and we will. And that's going to be Riley Simone pinch running for Morgan Sunchild.
And that seems to be a common theme here for the Carroll Fighting Saints, is subbing her out when she gets on base.
So Morgan Sunchild, who was on first, is replaced by Riley Simone. This one swung all the way through by Carly Smith.
And hefty lead over there at first.
Yeah, very hefty lead indeed. So on a first pitch swing, Sarah Martin is ahead.
Yeah, Carroll really looks to be aggressive on the base paths early.
The 0-1 coming from Martin, batted back to her, throws the second. Will it be in time at first? And they do turn 2.
Beautiful play by the Beacons as they're able to go 6-4-3 for the double play.
6-4-3 indeed in the double play. Letting it go.
How about number 28,
Carly
Brooklyn
Smith
Jackson?
and Riley Simone are retired, so 2 outs now. And a quick change of pace for the Beacons. So Brooklyn Jackson catching that first ball just on the outside. Standing on the right side of batter's box for Sarah Martin. In the circle as she preps. The wind and deal coming down the heart of the strike zone to make that count 1-1 now with 2 outs. Here in the top of the first, the score still remains the same at 0-0. Both the Beacons and, top of the second, still 0-0. The Beacons and the Carroll Fighting Saints have not put on any runs. Martin with the pitch, sends it down for strike 2.
Yeah, I think the key to victory here for the Beacons today, especially in the first game, they struggled with a lot of errors that ended up giving up a lot of runs. So being able to just limit the errors on defense.
Indeed. Sarah Martin delivering the 1-2, swung down low, and that's going to make for the 3rd strike and her 2nd strikeout of the night. So Brooklyn Jackson gets caught on a low ball, and that'll do it here in the top of the 2nd. We'll be right back on the Bushnell Streaming Network.
Violet Richardson.
And we'd like to welcome you back here in the bottom of the 2nd action on the Bushnell Streaming Network. We're leading off for the Bushnell Beacons. It's going to be Violet Richardson in the cleanup spot, followed by Sarah Martin, the pitcher, and Riley Peeler, who's in right field today.
Yeah, Violet Richardson, undoubtedly Bushnell's best offensive player.
Amen sending that first pitch down low at the knees, and is called for ball 1. And Amen trying to get something started early. She knows that Richardson does lead the CCC in home runs, is a power hitter, bats over 400. and has a high OPS of over 1,000. The second pitch coming across the plate just off the strike zone. It's going to be called for ball 2.
Yeah, great eye there by Richardson.
I think Richardson, after having that first moment of going through the motions, had a couple of strikeouts in game 1. She's looking to bounce back for game 2. The second pitch coming down. That's actually the third, and that's going to make for ball 3 on the bottom of the zone.
Yeah, perfect situation here for Violet Richardson to be aggressive.
So Violet Richardson standing a 3-0 count versus Amend. It fires down and home in the heart of the strike zone as she looks at it. So 3-1 now. Was a moment where she probably got the sign to just take. That would be the safe assumption. Amend, the 3-1 fires away. Richardson batting this one deep, and it's out of here. Violet Richardson around the bases she goes. Saw her fourth pitch and sends it out of right field, and that will advance the Beacons to have score number 1.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how a hot start is essential for Bushnell.
Now batting number 26.
Violet Richardson, was there any doubt that she would hit a home run in one of these games? There wasn't. So now Sarah Martin, with a little bit of comfort behind her, knowing that there's no outs. Clean slate pitch as she takes the swing. It's going to be batted out on the right side. So the count being 0-1 here. But Violet Richardson, what about that? Right, started off early in the leadoff spot and hits a home run and says bye-bye.
Yeah, we knew it was coming for Violet Richardson. She was making great contact throughout the last game. Wasn't really able to put anything in play, but she was getting good looks.
So Amend throwing that second pitch high at the helmet for Sarah Martin. Count 1-1, delivering her ear. Sarah Martin splitting it up the middle, but will throw a liner directly into the glove of Slater, and that's going to retire Sarah Martin.
Yeah, and we talked in the previous game about how for Bushnell, 4 of the 5 of their last wins came from scoring 4+ runs in the first 3 innings. So being able to get it started early is essential for them to win.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and what better way to do that than have Riley Peeler, who had herself a game at first in game 1, now here on the left side of batter's box. This one sent up high at the eyes. That's going to be called for ball 1. So Peeler setting herself up in the left hand. The pitch on its way, just off the side of the plate, called for ball 2.
Yeah, I think it's also good for Bushnell to play in front as well. They played the entirety of the game before from behind, playing, worried or scared, but now they have that run support in front of them.
Amend sending this third pitch off the bottom of the barrel, but caught for strike 1. So Peeler making a little bit of contact, but just got too much over it. So Amend with the 2-1 fires away. This one saw clean at the eyes for Peeler, so that makes this count 3-1 now. And this isn't so much a chance where you can just take. This is a 3-1 count that can turn into a full count very quickly. Amend sends it high again, and that will walk Peeler. So the Bushnell Beacons taking advantage of Abby Amend early here in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, now we have a meeting on the mound, or maybe an equipment issue here.
There definitely is a meeting on the mound, but it doesn't look like Amend is going to come out of this game.
Brenna Wilson.
So Brenna Wilson is going to come up here on the right-handed batter's box. Brenna Wilson was 0 for 3 in the first game against the Fighting Saints. Still looking for her first hit today. Shows bunt, pulls back. As Peeler takes a small lead, but not sizable enough to go steal. So runner on first for Amend and the Fighting Saints. Score 1-0 here in the bottom of the second due to Violet Richardson hitting a long shot off the right field fence. So Wilson sees the pitch. This one tapped up high into foul territory off the right side, and it's out of Rich Schwab. Oh, I just heard that one drop back somewhere. Hit pretty heavy, if you ask me. So the count 1-1 with one out and a runner on first in Riley Peeler. Bottom of the second steal for the Fighting Saints with one out. The 1-1 shows bunt, taps it up high as it hits the cage behind us. So 1-2 now for Brianna Wilson.
Infield anticipated that bunt. They all collapsed early. But now she'll have to pull that bunt away with 2 strikes.
So Amend sets herself in the circle. The 1-2 winds. This one popped up again and behind us.
And the foul balls are getting louder and louder.
It's a nice little souvenir for some of the Beacons fans, or maybe if you're a Fighting Saint hand, you can you take it back on the road trip. So Carroll and the Fighting Saints. Amend sends the 1-2, the dropper up high at the letters, and that's going to call for ball 2 now. So a laces tied scenario, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, with Peeler on first. Here in the bottom of the second, the pitch swung all the way through by Brianna Wilson, and she'll be struck out on that one. That makes for Abby Amend's 3rd strikeout of the afternoon.
Now batting number 34, Maddie Fullenwider.
Maddie Fullenwider coming up to bat for her first time of the afternoon. Didn't play in game 1. Sees the dropper down low at the ankles, and that makes for ball 1. So runner still on first in Riley Peeler with Maddie Fullenwider at the plate. Maddie Fullenwider, who had struggled in her first home series in Rich Schwab, is kind of looking to change that around. The first baseman.
Yeah, no better time to turn it around than when you have runners on, being able to give your team run support early in the game.
So Amend, the count of 1-1, sends it home. This one high at the helmet. And that's ball 2. And Peeler remains at first. So 2 balls, 1 strike, and 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. With the Beacons leading by 1. The pitch coming home. Off the side of the plate again. That's going to make for ball 3. With 1 strike here and 2 outs. Peeler she might take on this one and go. But Amend sends the pitch anyways. This one popped up and behind us. As Libert hops out of the squat again. It's about the 3rd time that she's had to do this in this at-bat. So full count for Maddie Fullenwider, the first baseman, looking to get her first hit of the afternoon. And Amend looking to keep that at bay. Sends the 3-2 high at the eyes and walks her second batter of the inning. So here in the bottom of the second, 2 batters walked. Riley Peeler now on second in scoring position, and Maddie Fullenwider at first. Montana Love. The secondary catch, well, I shouldn't say secondary, the other catcher, I should say, because her and Gracie Hamilton are a dynamic duo behind the dish. Amend sends this one at the letters. Call for ball 1.
Yeah, and Love didn't play the first game, hopefully trying to get her opportunity here in the second, make an impact on this game.
So Abby Amend, runners on first and second, sends the 1-0 pitch on the inside, high and tight. So 2 balls, no strikes with 2 outs. And it seems as Abby Amend has gotten caught in a top of the 7th scenario that Emily Cole was caught in not too long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a high pitch count here in this inning for her.
Another one sent high at the helmet, and that's 3 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, I think your take all the way here with runners on first and second. No need to risk any sort of quick out.
Yeah, especially anything in the field that can be converted into a double. Force outs are never the way to go here.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a force out everywhere on the base path. So,
well, that 3-0 pitch just caught high and tight at the hands, but is called for strike 1 on the corner of the zone. So count 3-1 here with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Amend with the 3-1. This one put in the same spot. And now, how quickly a count can change. And Montana Love is in a full count scenario with 2 outs. And runners on the bags. Amend sends the pitch. This one swung all the way through by Montana Love. And she's got her 4th strikeout of the afternoon. So that'll do it here in the bottom of the second. The only run being scored was Violet Richardson's solo shot. We'll be right back for the top of the third action here on the Bushnell Streaming Network. And we return live, top of the three action here on the Bushnell Streaming Network. And the leadoff hitter for the Carroll Saints, Fighting Saints I should say, is Alyssa Libert, who's usually behind the dish just as Montana Love is. Finds herself in the right side of batter's box. A clean slate for Sarah Martin and the Beacons. The pitch on its way. This one caught at the knees but not called for a strike. So 1 ball, no strikes here for Sarah Martin and the Bushnell Beacons.
Yeah, and the low pitch just have not been seen to be called for strikes today. Umpire has a very clear strike zone.
Absolutely, but this one coming in high in sight, making the count 1-1. So the strike zone extended just a tad, but not too much. Sarah Martin with the 1-1 against Libert. This one down at the feet, skips in across the plate.
And the rain is starting to come down here at Rich Schwab.
Yeah, the sideways rain is starting to hit us in the eyes a little bit. Not too much of an ideal situation for Sarah Martin. The count 2-1. Sarah Martin winds and deals. This one batted as it goes out foul on the right side. On the left side. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs. Here in the top of the third, Alyssa Libert is the leadoff batter. Alyssa Libert with the laces tied count. Sees it come through. Batted off the bottom of the barrel. And that one's called foul. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and no outs here in the top of the third. The wind's starting to pick up just a tad, and we apologize for that. As the rain begins to come down in Rich Schwab, you see Sarah Martin with a smile. You wonder if it's because she knows or she's just enjoying herself. The 2-2 firing away off the bottom and skips across the plate.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see the rain have a bit of an effect on the pitch command. Some pitches seem to be getting away from them.
Yeah, the rain not coming down aggressively, but it is noticeable enough to make a difference. So Sarah Martin, the full count, fires home. This one batted off the bottom of the barrel. And Alyssa Libert finds a way to stay alive. So Sarah Martin exits the circle, takes a little bit of extra time to reset herself. Trying to dry off the ball on the top. And it's all about being comfortable in the middle of the circle. So full count for Sarah Martin. The delivery. This one coming off the side of the plate. And that will walk Alyssa Libert. Not exactly the start that she would have wanted to the top of the third, but you can start to argue that the rain coming down is going to make it a lot tougher on these pitchers to keep control of the ball. You're going to see a lot more maybe slide off the side. So coming in is Liz Ybarra, who also had a big game in game 1. Shows bunt, pulls back, as Montana Love pops out of the squat but doesn't throw down.
Yeah, in this situation, you know, if you're Sarah Martin, just trying to get a ball on the ground, being able to turn 2 here for the defense.
So Liz Ybarra enters the left side of batter's box again. Runner on first in Alyssa Libert. Sarah Martin still looking for that first out. Count 0-1. Delivering, shows bunt. as it goes through, and Montana Love has got it in the back. Excellent protection behind the plate from Montana Love.
Yeah, Montana Love just making sure there's no pass balls here. You don't want a runner advancing into scoring position.
Absolutely. So the 0-2 count with Libbert on first. Martin, the wind and deal, sends it up high at the eyes. And Montana Love, I think she's just trying to protect Libbert, who's on first, from advancing. That's the second time she's hopped out of the squat. As Sarah Martin recenters herself in the middle of the circle. The pitch on its way. This one batted out into the gap right between Wilson and Wamble.
It's an excellent job on the base pass, being able to advance from first to third on a little fly ball like that.
Down a small ball that got some lift. And that's going to tie it up here.
Batting number 1, Bryn Notbaum.
And Bryn Notbaum rounding out the bottom 9 here. She didn't get any at-bats, but she did get a pinch run earlier in game 1. So she has a little bit of action. She's a little warm, but takes her spot on the left side of batter's box. This one batted down to Sarah Martin, makes the play at first. Can they make the play at home? Montana Love with the tag. It will not be in time.
Wow, just a smart base running from the Saints there, waiting for the ball to be thrown to first and then taking that opportunity to run home.
So that brings home Alyssa Libbert, and we're tied at 1 apiece here in the top of the 3rd.
How about number 8, Katie Slater?
So a good sack bunt, but Katie Slater, we're at the top of the order. This one batted to Shyla Mead, picks it up and throws the full and wider. Where's the scoop? It is called for an out.
There's something to be said about the play at first from the Beacons in these last 2 games, being able to dig everything out of the ground.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's been a tough day for first basemen on the Beacon side. But coming in now in the right side of batter's box is Sammy Labrum. This is her second at bat today. She struck out in her first one against Sarah Martin. So called ball 1 on that first pitch. Remember, there are runners at third. Sligia Barra. So the go-ahead run at third. Martin checks the band, goes. Swung all the way through by Sammy Labrum. And that makes for 1 ball and 1 strike here in the top of the 3rd. Score still tied at 1 apiece, but the go-ahead run is at third with 2 outs. Martin looking to end this inning and keep the runner on the bag. She deals. This one batted off the bottom of the barrel. And Sammy Labrum now finds herself in a 1-2 scenario.
Yeah, Sammy Labrum here behind in the count. Definitely looking to be aggressive here with a runner on third.
Sarah Martin shakes off another pitch, confirms that one, and sends it down the pipe. This one batted directly back at Sarah Martin as she makes the routine play to first, and that will retire Sammy Labrum again for her 2nd time today. We'll return for the bottom of the 3 action, where it's going to be Taylor Kenworthy, Haley Wamble, and Ashla Martin. We'll be right back. And we're back. Bottom of the 3, where it could be a moment for the Beacons. A reset at the top of the order. Taylor Kenworthy is leading off. Yes, she struck out looking in her first at bat, but you can never count down the Beacons when the game is tied at 1 apiece. The first pitch coming from Amend. As Kenworthy bats this one back. Count 0-1 now. Here in the bottom of the 3rd. And the sun coming out on Rich Schwab Field. Still a little bit of rainfall, but not too much, as Amen pitches this one high at the eyes.
Yeah, and we've had all types of weather on display in today's games. It's finally nice to have the sun out.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of warmth shining down onto the diamond. Amen with the 1-1, delivers. Sends it off the side of the plate, and that's going to make for ball 2 against Taylor Kenworthy. Kenworthy doing an excellent job of trying to keep herself in this at-bat. Is still ahead. Kenworthy seeing that pitch, bats it off the bottom of the barrel, and that count is now 2-2 with no outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. I mean, in this matchup, in this second game, is huge. You want to win the series at home, and you also want to catch your first in-conference win. Taylor Kenworthy having an opportunity to make that happen as this pitch is off the side of the plate, and we're tied. Excuse me, not tied, but it is a full count.
Yeah, we've talked about Bushnell's upcoming schedule being incredibly difficult and how important it is for them to get a couple games this series here.
Aman sends this one as Kenworthy tries to poke it out and let the hands go. But the full count still remains the same. Excellent protection by Kenworthy. So Aman recenters herself in the middle of the circle. The left-handed pitcher lets the full count fly. This one laced down off the hands of Labrum. And that's going to allow Taylor Kenworthy to put a worm burner through the glove.
Yeah, an excellent piece of hitting, being able to sit back and shoot that into the opposite field.
Now batting number 23, Haley Wombold.
So Haley Wombold coming up to bat. It's bat number 2. This is the second time that she's done that today. She batted in the second position in game 1. She went 0 for 3, but she's got a runner in first in Kenworthy. Amen with the pitch. Count is 1-0 as it didn't catch the bottom of the strike zone. And as we said, the home plate umpire has established that some of these low pitches are not always going to be called for balls and strikes. He's established the strike zone very well and has remained very consistent with it.
Yeah, it's been consistent all around. It's been very good.
Shows bunt as this one goes through, but it is called foul by the home plate officiant. So Haley Wambolt having to take her journey from first all the way back to the diamond.
Yeah, that bunt seemed to either hit off the foot or off the body somewhere after it made contact with the bat.
Yeah, it seemed to bounce off the foot.
And that's happened a few times today.
It has. We've seen it a multitude of times from game 1 and now a couple of times through game 2. So here in the bottom of the 3rd, count 1-2. Amen deals. Another bunt shown. This one is bunted out fouled on that right side line. And it's dangerous to bat with 2 strikes. One
Really
ball,
is,
2
yeah.
strikes.
Yeah, definitely now having to pull the bunt away with 2 strikes. We'll see what she does here.
So Haley Wambolt awaits in the right-handed batter's box. The 1-2 delivering. This one tattooed high. But it is going to fall into the glove of Ybarra. And that makes for the first out.
Ashlyn Martin.
Yeah, here we go now for Bushnell. The heart of the order for them. Definitely want to get these women on base. Get some runs scored here early.
Yeah, this is actually a great position for Ashlyn Martin. Had a pretty good outing at the bat, and she knows how to swing and run in RBIs. With Kenworthy still on first. The men with the clean slate deals. Ashlyn Martin bats this one. It is going to fall foul off of the dugout for the Beacons. So no attempt to try to snag an out. But the count is 0-1 for Ashlyn Martin.
I like the aggressiveness here from the Beacons, swinging on a lot of first pitches, jumping on opportunities as quickly as possible.
I mean, with the runner on first, you have to. The count 0-1. Del Martin puts this one down into play. Is going to be on the glove of Jackson, but the throw isn't going to be in time. The decision to throw actually wasn't there. But regardless, now the Beacons have a little bit of momentum. Hits are contagious. Ashlyn Martin, can you be contagious to Violet Richardson, who already has a home run so far today? That's the question. So Kenworthy on second, Martin on first, And Richardson up to bat. Sees the first pitch high at the eyes. And is going to take for ball 1. Remember, Violet Richardson saw 4 pitches before taking the 5th pitch deep into right field and sending it over the fence.
Yeah, and if I'm Abby Amen here, I'm not giving her too much to hit. No reason to risk giving up a big play.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen deals the 1-0. This one tried to drop into the zone, but it's going to be caught down below the knees. So 2 balls, no strikes with 1 out here, with runners on first and second in the bottom of the 3rd. Tied 1 apiece, the Beacons are looking to take control of this inning. Amen deals the 0-1. Excuse me, the 2-0. And now it makes it 3-0. Full count scenario. This is exactly the same scenario that Violet Richardson was at in her last at-bat. She took the 4th pitch to make it 3-1. Amen deals the 3-0. This one swung all the way through from Violet Richardson, and now the count remains at 3-1. She just needed to be a little bit more patient on it, tried to get in front of it.
Yeah, this should be her pitch here. This is what she's looking for. Take it out of the yard here.
So Martin and Kenworthy on first and second. The 3-1 deal. This one set high, and Richardson is walked. Big break for Violet Richardson and the Bushnell Beacons, and bases loaded. Taylor Kenworthy on third.
Number 26,
Ashlyn Martin on second. Violet Richardson on first. And who else but the pitcher to try to bat in these runs?
Yeah, and what an opportunity here for Bushnell. You know, they haven't been able to get the bases loaded all day. Really haven't been able to knock too many runners in from the bases, leaving a lot of people stranded. We'll see if they can fix that right now.
And Sarah Martin, who is an excellent softball player. She pitches well, she hits well. The size and the build is there. Stands at 5'10". This is a player who can let the hands go and really poke the ball in any area of play. So bases loaded on a clean slate. Pitch to Martin, sent up high, and that's going to be called for ball 1. So just to remind everyone watching at home, bases loaded for the Bushnell Beacons. It's Kenworthy, Martin, Richardson here in the bottom of the 3rd. Tied 1-1 with 1 out. Swung all the way through for Sarah Martin, and it's going to make this count 1-1. So the count 1-1 here. Bases loaded for Sarah Martin. Amen sends the pitch. This one batted through and off the side of the barrel. So 1-2 now.
Yeah, and Sarah Martin definitely can expect some strikes here. Definitely can't walk in a run here, so she's expecting something to hit.
The 1-2 from Sarah Martin. She sees it as this one's popped up behind us, and the count remains the same. So 1 out here for the Bushnell Beacons. And I think what's kind of important to focus on is that if Martin can put this just past the infield, it will score a run regardless.
And possibly 2.
Swung all the way through by Sarah Martin, and that's going to be called strike 3.
Yeah, excellent job by the catcher there. Able to squeeze that foul tip.
So that makes 4 strikeouts so far for Abby Amend. Through 3 innings of work so far, has 2 outs now, but the bases are still loaded. And Riley Peeler, who's in right field right now, sees the clean slate pitch. Bats this one out on the left side. Left-handed batter just trying to make some contact here. Trying to straighten it out, get the lead.
Yeah, if Bushnell can play with some comfort runs in front of them, I think that will really help them going forward.
Wide stance for Peeler as she sees the pitch come in. That's called for strike 2 now. So count 0-2 for Riley Peeler with bases loaded. No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Peeler, left foot on the back line, right foot wide. The pitch on its way off the side of the plate. And count is 1-2 now for Riley Peeler. Here in the bottom of the 3rd, the score is 1-1. 2 outs and bases loaded. Abby Amend, the 1-2, delivers, sends it at the letters, and that's called for ball 2. And now, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. My favorite triple-double in baseball and softball. Here in the bottom of the 3rd, bases loaded. Abby Amend with the 2-2. And gets Peeler right into the leg. It erupts. Because that's going to bring home Taylor Kenworthy and the Beacons, for the 2nd time in this game, have the lead.
Batting number to Brenna Wilson.
That's an excellent momentum shifter for the Beacons here. Sometimes a hit by pitch, being able to take the pain and run to first, that can really get your bench fired up. Hopefully lead into this at bat here.
And now it's Brianna Wilson. She's already struck out once so far in game 2. Sees the first pitch as it bounces back to her.
Yeah, that appeared to foul off her leg there.
Yeah, she's going to take a little bit of extra time to reset herself.
Yeah, those are never fun.
But base is still loaded here for the Beacons with 2 outs. 1 strike against Brianna Wilson. She's the left fielder. Amen sends the 0-1 high at the helmet. That one rose. So
Really
1 ball, 1 strike.
Seen a lot of droppers in these games, but not a whole lot of risers.
Yeah, haven't seen a lot of rising pitches trying to catch them in the high part of the zone. Amen will deal the 1-1. This one swung all the way through and make it 1-2 now for Brianna Wilson. Amen centering herself in the circle. Just needs 1 more strike to end the inning. Will she have it? This one tattooed through the infield, but it will be retired at first from Thomas DeLabrum. And that's going to do it here in the bottom of the 3rd. But the Beacons do score and regain the lead, making the score 2-1. We'll be right back for top of the 4 action on the Bushnell Streaming Network. Don't leave your seats.
Thomas.
So Kenna Thomas here in the top of the 4th is going to be the leadoff hitter for the Fighting Saints. It's Kenna Thomas followed by Sunchild, and after that it's going to be Smith.
Yeah, Kenna Thomas in her last year here for the Saints, senior.
And that first pitch sent all the way through by Sarah Martin, catches for strike 1. Having to play against Kenna Thomas. Kenna Thomas seeing that second pitch come off the side of the plate, making for ball 1. So count 1-1 here with Sarah Martin. Lets it fly down on the inside part of the zone. It's going to be called for ball 2.
Yeah, we've talked about the excellent eye of the Carroll Fighting Saints. They're very, very disciplined at the plate.
And Sarah Martin trying to make another quick inning for the Beacons. The 2-1 flies down at the knees. It's going to be called for ball 3. So this is exactly what Kenna Thompson and the Fighting Saints were hoping for. You can put yourself ahead 3-1 with no outs here in the top of the 4th. Sarah Martin, the 3-1, comes home. Down at the knees again, called for ball 4. So that's her second walked batter today.
Number 20, Morgan Sunchild.
And bring up the cleanup hitter usually, Morgan Sunchild, but she is batting second so far in the inning. So no outs for Sarah Martin and a runner on first in Kenna Thomas.
And a great day so far for Morgan Sunchild. She was instrumental in the Fighting Saints win earlier today.
Sarah Martin shaking off another pitch and lets the clean slate fly into the heart of the strike zone. Is called for strike 1.
And Sunchild, not really the type of hitter to jump on the first pitch, really trying to work the count and look for her pitch.
Yeah, Sunchild indeed trying to work all the way through and find the one that she can send for a 2-run shot. Count 0-1, flies. It's just off the side of the plate and called for ball 1. Montana Love hopped up out of the squat, but just threatened the throwdown. Didn't actually go on it. So Martin with the 1-1. Winds and delivers here. This one shortly batted on. Over to Violet Richardson. Just in foul territories.
Yeah, look for the runners on base to get an aggressive jump here. The Fighting Saints are very aggressive on the base pass in terms of steals and speed.
Martin shaking off another pitch with a runner on first. The 1-2 coming home. This one hammered down, trying to get the double play, but they do get the lead runner at second. So Morgan Sunchild will advance to first as Violet Richardson gets Kenna Thomas at second. So that's the first out of the inning.
31, Carly Smith.
And Carly Smith is up to bat. Morgan Sunchild hitting another single. It's her second one of the day. Sarah Martin delivering the clean slate. Down in the heart of the strike zone. Catches for strike one. Big smile on her face.
Yeah, is that Sunchild's 5th hit of the day?
I believe so. Sarah Martin sets herself. Throws. A backer. Throws it down at second and gets the double play at first.
And the Beacons go 1-6-3.
Another 1-6. Taylor Kenworthy throwing from second and getting Carly Smith at first. And actually was the same person. So another 6-4-3 double scenario. And that'll bring down the bottom of the fourth. And we'll be right back on the Bushnell Streaming Network as we return. So leading off the bottom of the fourth, here for the Bushnell Beacons, who left 3 on in their last inning. She sees this one and lays it down early to Sunchild. The throw is in time over to Labrum, and that made quick work here of Maddie Fullenwider.
Yeah, great lateral movement by Sunchild over there on third base, being able to slide over and make an efficient throw to first.
Montana Love.
So we're back to Montana Love. She struck out in her first at-bat, looking for her first hit of the afternoon. Pitch coming in down low from a man, and that's ball one. So here in the bottom of the fourth, the Beacons lead 2-1. Count 1-0, swung on all the way through by Love. And now it's 1-1.
And the wind's starting to pick up again here at Ridge Swap Field. We apologize for that.
Yeah, the wind making things a little tough for the team, but 1-1, swung all the way through again by Montana Love and make it 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Beacon still leading 2-1. This is huge. This is a moment to just hold on. Amen sends the 1-2 off the side of the plate.
Yeah, if you're the Beacons, just not letting the foot off the gas, being able to stay aggressive throughout and get as much run support as you possibly can for Sarah Martin.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes as the pitch comes down the pane. Just off the top of the strike zone, and it's a full count now.
If you're Abby Amen, what pitch are you looking to throw here?
Something close. Amen sends this one as it's lifted up high into right field. And the catch is going to be made by Notbaum. And unfortunately, that will retire Montana Love for the second time today. It's great contact. She lifted it up high, but it wasn't enough to get out of range from Notbaum.
Yeah, wind unfortunately not blowing out towards the outfield, but more so to the right.
So that brings up Taylor Kenworthy. We're back at the top of the order with 2 outs. And the clean slate pitch coming from Amend. High and tight, that's called for ball 1. So 1 ball, no strikes here in the bottom of the 4th with 2 outs. And Abby Amend already has 4 strikeouts. The second pitch coming through. This one batted down over to Jackson. Makes the play at first to Labrum. And that will do it. So a quick 1-2-3 inning for the Fighting Saints. And we'll be right back for Top 5 action here on the Bushnell Streaming Network as we return. And we return. Top of the 5th. Sarah Martin still in the middle of the circle. So the pitch from Sarah Martin coming down the lane is called for strike 1 early against Brooklyn Jackson. The right-handed batter here with a 0-1 count. Firing away. This one lifted up actually in the gap of the Beacons dugout. So that one batted off foul, but found its way into the Beacons dugout. And the count for Sarah Martin, she's ahead 0-2. And this is an excellent position for her. So Brooklyn Jackson with the 0-2 count. Here it comes. This one down low at the knees, did a little check swing, but didn't fully go all the way around.
Yeah, great plate discipline there, not to go all the way around, hold up on that swing.
Yeah, so 1-2 now is the count with no outs, and Sarah Martin showing a little bit of smile in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, there's been smiles all around today.
As it flies down the middle of the lane, it's going to be off the side and called for 2-2. And something that the Saints, I think, haven't gotten enough credit for throughout this first 2 games is how keen their eye have been in the middle of the plate. They do not take balls that aren't what they like, and it's showing so far. This one caught on the inside, and now a full count scenario for Sarah Martin, the pitcher who was up at one point in this at-bat.
And I would say that their plate discipline really kind of equated to a lot of their success in the first game, being able to be efficient at the plate and not swing at bad pitches.
Indeed. Martin with the full count delivers. This one laid down for Violet Richardson and picked up by Fullenwider. The scoop was in time. And that'll do it for Brooklyn Jackson on a tough running throw by Violet Richardson. Very athletic play. And it gets the out number 1.
Yeah, incredible athletic play by Violet Richardson, but also an incredible scoop out first base. We've seen that a few times today.
Yeah, Fullenwider doing an excellent job. So Sarah Martin now having to face Alyssa Libbert. Sends that first pitch, and it's going to be called for ball 1. Something that's interesting, the scoring cycle actually started with Alyssa Libbert last inning in that top of the 3rd that led to the Fighting Saints scoring. So this one batted down to Kenworthy, and another excellent scoop by Fullenwider to get out number 2.
Yeah, we talked about for the Bushnell pitchers being able to trust the defense behind you, trust your teammates to make plays, and that's exactly what they're doing today.
Yeah, I think that was something that the team had a little bit of a struggle with in the first game, but really started to find their stride here in the second. Liz Ybarra in that left-handed batter's box to receive the clean slate. This one chopped all the way through, and that's going to make for strike 1 here in the top of the 5 with 2 outs. The score still remaining the same. Bushnell leading this match 2-1.
Yeah, and head coach Jim Patrick has to be absolutely thrilled with what his defense is doing this game.
Ybarra to see the 0-1 coming down. This one directly back to Martin and retires it to Fullenwider. So that'll be 1, 2, and 3 for Sarah Martin. All balls put into play, and we'll be right back for the bottom of the 5th action for Bushnell when we return. And we make our return here in the bottom of the 5th, and leading off for the Bushnell Beacons is going to be Haley Wamble. So the right-handed batter exiting and re-enters. She's flown out twice in her at-bats so far against the men and is 0 for 3 from game 1. So she's still looking as she takes the first pitch. This one just a little popper into Thomas's glove. And on a first pitch swing, that will retire Haley Wamble.
Number 9, Ashlyn Martin.
And brings up Ashlyn Martin. She hit a single earlier in her second at bat, and that's what helped the scoring cycle. Ashlyn Martin gets on base. Violet Richardson got walked. Riley Peeler got hit by a pitch, and that's what led to the bases loaded. So sees this pitch come in low from a man. That's going to be called for ball 1 here in the bottom of the 5th with 1 out. She re-enters.
Yeah, definitely trying to get on base here for the powerful Violet Richardson behind her.
As Martin takes that one, she bats it out directly to us, actually. So 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out here for Ashlyn Martin and the Beacons.
Yeah,
Abby Amend.
Our reflexes have been tested a little bit with these foul balls coming back to the backstop.
Abby Amend with the 1-1. This one down the heart of the lane, but will not get called for the strike. So 2-1 now.
It's a tight zone this game.
So
Very
tight
tight strike zone.
And it's starting to get a little groggy here in Rich Schwab as the gray continues to come back as Martin bats that one just off the backstop. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. And just as I was mentioning earlier, the sun has gone away. The wind has picked up a tad, and it's gotten a little gray here over Rich Schwab. But 2 strikes and 2 balls for Abby Amend. Throws it down off the side of the plate again, and now it's a full count. She just needs 1 more strike to get her second out of the inning. And the question is, what type of pitch will she use against Ashlyn Martin? The 3-2, firing. This one lifted up high. Will it drop? It won't. And that's another Thomas play, having a crash on the shallow infield.
Number 15,
Lifted up directly into the sky.
Richardson.
Yeah, the wind is blowing pretty heavy out into right field here. Unfortunately, it's not blowing out for Violet Richardson.
So Violet Richardson, 5 home runs in the CCC, still the #1 leader. The clean slate coming through. It's a dropper down at the knees, but gets called on the bottom of the zone for strike 1. So no balls, 1 strike, and 2 outs for Violet Richardson, who's had a little bit of a tougher day. She hit the home run. She got walked in her second at bat, but she did get struck out every single time in game 1. Richardson seeing another pitch come high and tight, just at the hands, and that's called for strike 2.
Yeah, 2 off-speed pitches in a row. Definitely expecting something quick here. Maybe something out of the zone, trying to get her to chase.
Yeah, I think she's going to try to go up high with this one. So the count 0-2 as it fires away. This one put into the middle of the zone, lifted out into left field. It goes, bounces off the fence, and Violet Richardson trying to slide for second, and she gets it in time.
Just missed. Missed by about a foot.
Violet Richardson An extra base hit off of the left field fence.
Sarah Martin.
Violet Richardson just doing what she does best, putting the bat to the ball with extreme power. Excellent job from her.
And for a minute, I really thought that there was a chance that she could have had 2 in one game. It was very close. But now, Violet Richardson in scoring position and Sarah Martin up to bat. The clean slate, fire down. Martin swinging on the first pitch off the glove of Labrum. And Violet Richardson advances to third. Sarah Martin gets a single. And now, Riley Peeler coming up to bat. The hits have been contagious in the second game for the Bushnell Beacons, making Abby Amend work a little bit. But Abby Amend, so far tonight,
Now batting number 19,
she has a
Riley
pair,
Peeler.
she has 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts. So Abby Amend has done her work on the middle of the circle. It's just, she's gotten caught in some tough innings in the back half.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very similar to Emily Cole from game 1.
Very true, and it's at no fault to her defense. Her defense has played great, just like the Bushnell hitters being able to put it where the defense can't get it.
Yeah, and that high jumper on the grounder from Sarah Martin definitely sent Labrum for a turn. So Amend with the clean slate against Peeler, sends it low at the foot, but finds the zone for strike 1.
Yeah, and CJ here with a runner on first and third, would you anticipate a steal here?
It's possible, but with 2 outs, it seems a little improbable. So Peeler with the 0-1 count sees the pitch. This one swung all the way through. And now she's behind 0-2. But that's never stopped Peeler before. She's a fighter. She knows how to come back in long counts. And this, so now runners at each corner. Sarah Martin and Violet Richardson with 2 strikes and no balls. That one just off the side of the plate is called for ball 1 and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Bushnell still leads this matchup by 1 run. And Violet Richardson, if she can find her way home, would make it by 2 runs. A little bit of breathing room for the Beacons. Abby Amend with the 1-2, winds and deals. This one high at the eyes. And Libert having to hop out of the squat again to try to protect the steal. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. And the Beacons have 2 runners on. Peeler. And a time called by the umpire. Pops out of the squat, gives a little bit of time. Peeler, the left-handed batter, will re-enter. Left foot on the back line. Right wide open. The pitch coming down. This one batted out and foul. So bottom of the 5th, the scenario still remains the same for the Beacons, and a very crucial one at that. If you want to catch your first conference win, catch your first win of the night, this is where you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about them stranding base runners. They need to capitalize when runners are on base.
Peeler seeing the 2-2 just off the side of the plate again. And now it's a full count for Riley Peeler and the Bushnell Beacons. Violet Richardson on third. Sarah Martin on first.
Yeah, and if I'm Riley Peeler, I'm pressuring Abby Amend to throw a strike here.
Oh, absolutely. Abby Amend delivers on the 3-2 just off the side of the plate. And Peeler erupts again. Her 3rd walk of the day.
Just excellent piece of hitting from Peeler there, being able to sit down and stay disciplined, not chase after something she doesn't need.
Brenna Wilson.
And now, bases loaded. Brenna Wilson with an opportunity to drive in any RBIs. Here in the bottom of the 5th, the Beacons lead by 1. Good pitch delivery by Amend, but it will not catch the top of the strike zone and called for ball 1. So, bases loaded. Sarah Martin on second, Violet Richardson on third, and Riley Peeler on first. Amend looking to get out of the inning. Sends this one high and tight on the hands and called for ball 2.
Yeah, and Abby Amend really needs to find her command here, down 2-0 in the count with the bases loaded.
So Brenna Wilson, another one high at the helmet for her. 3 balls and no strikes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, and in all likelihood, Brenna Wilson has been given the take sign here. No reason to swing, risk anything. Force Abby Amend to throw a strike here.
The right-handed batter watches the ball fly down at the legs, and it brings in Violet Richardson. So bases loaded still. but on a low pitch, Violet Richardson finds her way inside. So 3 runs now
Maddie Fullenweider.
for the Bushnell Beacons. And the Carroll Fighting Saints with 1. And that's going to bring up Maddie Fullenweider. Still searching for her first hit of the day. Rich Schwab Field is getting a little bit of drizzle coming down. First pitch, high at the eyes again from Amend.
No better time than the present right now for her to get her first hit of the afternoon.
So 1 ball, no strikes with 2 outs, and bases loaded for the Beacons. Amend trying to strand the base runners. Another pitch sent down low on the bottom of the zone is called for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 run has already come in. And the pitching coach coming in to take a visit. As they have a discussion in the middle of the mound. And after a short little break to try to figure out if Abby Amend was going to come out of the circle, it seems as if she's going to remain.
Yeah, that's a good sign from the Carroll Fighting Saints, having trust in your players, being able to have them get out of difficult situations.
No, that's an amazing point that Jacob just made. The fact that I think trusting in Abby Amend, she already has 4 strikeouts. This hasn't really been to any fault of her own. She's just caught some unlucky breaks on the zone. She's looking to finish this one.
Yeah.
Another one sent high, just at the helmet of Fullenweider, makes this count 3-0.
Yeah, everyone has tough innings, but being able to be resilient and get through these tough innings is how you improve as a player.
I mean, and she's already had 5 innings of work and really has put the work out for her. That second pitch coming in again and walks her. So another walked batter that drives in a run, and that's Sarah Martin, who found her way across the home plate. And Shauna Juarez coming out to talk to the umpire. So far, the Beacons have scored 2 runs in this inning. Both have been on walks. So it's been an unusual type of inning for the Beacons and the Carroll Fighting Saints. And as we take a small defensive change, Abby Amend is going to come out of this game, and we're going to take a small break right before. So don't go anywhere here in the bottom of the 5th. And after a short little break to allow the Carroll Fighting Saints to make a defensive change in the middle of the circle. So Ermshire coming in to relieve Abby Amend after a long 5th inning.
Yeah, and unfortunately the rain is starting to really come down here in Eugene and Rich Schwab Field.
Ermshire, who has a 7.5 ERA, is trying to make quick work of Gracie Hamilton, who is coming in to fill and pinch hit for Montana Love. Count 1-2 one with 2 outs and bases loaded. Ermshire, not walking into the greatest scenario, delivers. Set low at the ankles and called for ball 2 with 1 strike.
Yeah, great opportunity here for Ermshire to get them out of this jam. This has been a very long inning, taxing on the defense, just trying to get them back for their offensive set.
Yeah, it's definitely allowed their offensive bats to get cold. And another pitch just set at the bottom of the zone and will not catch. And an unfortunate break
And I feel like, especially
for
Carroll,
McKinley Ermshire.
yeah, an adjustment really has to be made on the pitch locations. Clearly, those low strikes are just not being called.
And the rain coming down here in the middle of Rich Schwab. It is heavy. Definitely heavier than the rain that we've gotten all day. But McKinley Ermshire taking her place in the middle of the circle. The 3-1 delivering at the letters, but will not catch the top of the zone. And that's another base on balls scenario that drives in another run. So Riley Peeler comes in and scores for the Beacons. That's 5-1.
Now batting number
Yeah, the
24,
Beacons
Taylor
really couldn't have
Carroll.
asked for a better inning here, being able to get as much run support as possible.
And we're back to the top of the inning. Could you believe it? Taylor Kenworthy. We started this inning with Haley Wambolt, by the way, so we've almost gone a full circle. The clean slate pitch coming through for Ermshire. And that's called for strike 1. So no balls, 1 strike for Ermshire. Throws the second one. This one batted up high. The line drive gets through the middle infield, and that brings in a run. That brings in a second run. So Fullenwider scores. Brenna Wilson scores. And Kenworthy finds herself with a single here in this game.
And the Beacons have just broken it open. 7-1 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Now batting number 23, Haley Wambolt.
So Haley Wambolt, the right-handed batter, and we have made a full rotation, folks, in the batting lineup. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The score 7-1. That first pitch against Wambolt caught on the inside part of the zone for strike 1. And this has been a really long inning. This is very similar to Emily Cole's inning in the top of the 7th. The score was tied at 1 apiece earlier. That second pitch coming on the inside and catching ball 1. So 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs here. And Bushnell scoring a majority of their runs here off of batter's walk. So another one. Wambolt swings, sends that one foul off the left side. So 1 ball, 2 strikes now and 2 outs. And now Ermshire just 1 strike away from ending this very, very long inning for her and Abby Amen. The 1-2 firing away off the side plate. And now we're tied. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 5 runs have scored here in the bottom of the 5th so far, making the score 7-1. As the Fighting Saints just look to fight out of this inning. Wambolt expecting the 2-2. Bats this one directly back to Ermshire, and she's going to underhand it, but an error on the throw. And that's going to advance Haley Wambolt to second on a mistake coming from Ermshire. The underhand was just too high. That's really all it was. And the score now 8-0.
Yeah, it looks like she overthought that a little bit. Should have just maybe ran it over herself or just flipped it a little bit lower. But unfortunately, the error makes the inning continue.
So now the Beacons have scored 6 runs in this inning. Excuse me, so it was 2-1 before that. And winning run is on third. So the Beacons could end this one quickly.
Yeah, base hit effectively wins the game here for the Beacons, something they definitely like to do before we have a possible rain delay.
Ashlyn Martin was one of the flyouts earlier here in the bottom of the 5th. Something that it's actually very interesting about Ashlyn Martin is how well she can play out the plate. Yeah, she did hit a pop-out fly to Thomas. That's one thing, but knows how to put it in play, and really that's the most important part. So the 1-1 coming across the plate. That one on the inside will not be called for a strike. So 2 balls, 1 strike with 2 outs. And the winning run on third. And Taylor Kenworthy can almost smell victory. The 2-1 delivering. This one popped up behind us. And now we're tied again. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th where the Beacons have scored 6. Yes, you heard me correct, 6. So the score being 8-1. The winning run in Taylor Kenworthy standing on third.
Yeah, the Beacons' first conference win of the season is standing 60 feet away from home plate.
This pitch flown up high. Will it drop in between? And it will not. Ybarra comes down with the snag. And that's another fly out into right center. Into left center. And that'll do it. Here in the bottom of the 5th where the Beacons score 6, the score being 8-1. And we'll return for top of the 6th action. Don't go anywhere. And we like to return back here in the top of the 6th action. And it's going to be Bryn Notbaum in the left-handed batter's box versus Sarah Martin. The rain calming down just a little bit, but the wind still making its waves. Clean slate pitch for Sarah Martin. Delivering down the pipe. Catches for called strike 1. So Bryn Notbaum already down in the count, 0-1. Sarah Martin in the circle, winds and deals. This one batted through. Shyla Mead having a run at it and gives it to full and wider to get the out.
An excellent glove flip there. Perfect, no need to waste time transferring it to that right hand.
And the Beacons a little bit excited. You see Shyla Mead getting a little bit into it. You get Riley Peeler from right field getting a little bit into it. And also Wombolt in center field. So Katie Slater up in the left-handed batter's box. Slater, who was grounded out both times, but is very speedy, and she actually had a great first game. She hit a single, hit a double into the last part of her at-bat. She was 2 for 4.
Yeah, I think she's most dangerous on the base path, so just being able to get on base is probably the best option for her.
So I'm not too sure why the umpire had hopped out of his squat to call time, but count still remains the same at 1-0. And the sun starting to shine down on the Beacons a little bit as this pitch comes all the way through. Taylor Kenworthy running at it, full and wider, having to come off the plate to get it. So unfortunately, that will not be out number 2 for the Beacons, but instead, runner number 1 on the first base.
Yeah, great athletic play there at shortstop, but the throw unfortunately dragged the first baseman off the base, and the runner was able to advance.
So Sammy Labrum. So Sammy Labrum is actually not going to hit, and it's going to be Taylor Sayers coming in to pinch hit. So Sayers will have her first at-bat of the afternoon. We have not seen her today. Sarah Martin, 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Fires the clean slate pitch. It's going to catch off the side of the plate and be called for ball 1. And Sarah Martin is really just trying to close this game out and not allow any opportunities for the Carrolls to fight back.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get a pitch here that can put the ball on the ground, be able to turn 2.
Sarah Martin with a smile as she knows she caught the inside part of the zone. And now the count is tied 1 apiece. Here in the top of the 6th with a runner on first and Katie Slater. The speedy Slater. The 1-on. Coming through, swung all the way through by Sayers, and now the count is 1-2. And another, the umpire hopping out of his squat to have a conversation. But what a day. Let's just recap real quick. The bottom of the 5th. Back to back to back to back. Batters walked, but scored. But score 6 runs, and now the Beacons up 8-1 here in the top of the 6th, just looking to go through. Sarah Martin sends the 1-2. This one chopped down, but is foul.
Yeah, the bottom of the 5th inning for the Beacons is what they were looking for the entire day, especially during the first game. Just being able to get a rally going, being able to have consistent runners on base, and being able to actually capitalize on the runners that are on base and get them home.
And this is actually a very competitive, hard-fought match. It was very even in Game 1, and it got away from them. And here in Game 2, it's much more of the same, but on the opposite side for the Fighting Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. The first 4 innings of both games were neck and neck both ways, and then we just had one team explode for lots of runs in one inning.
Yep, and the same thing. Sometimes history has a way to repeat itself, and the Beacons, who have lost 9 straight matches to the Fighting Saints, are looking to break that today. This second pitch coming through. Called for strike 3, and gets Sayers looking.
Yeah, in a game like this for the Beacons, it's got to be good for that locker room chemistry. They were very much in need of a win going into the toughest part of their schedule.
Batting number 4, Kenna Thomas.
And now Sarah Martin, just 1 out away from getting out of this inning. The clean slate pitch just off the side of the plate, called for ball 1, with Slater still on first. So 1 ball, no strikes with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. And Slater's on first. And Sarah Martin with their 2nd strikeout today. Little check swing, but it is down the heart of the strike zone, so will not matter regardless. The count being 1-1.
Yeah, it's nice for Sarah Martin to not be able to, or not really have to be able to force a lot of strikeouts and relying on her defense, relying on the women behind her to make plays for her.
Absolutely. Martin with the pitch. This one batted shallow right field. And it is not what the Beacons would have wanted here, as Katie Slater, the speedy, finds her way on third. And now, a little bit of trouble, but Kenna Thomas finds herself on first. Katie Slater finds herself on third. And now,
Batting number 20,
the
Morgan
the cleanup batter in Morgan Sunchild.
Yeah, we've talked about Morgan Sunchild. Absolutely incredible day, both games. 5 hits in 2 games, looking for her 6th here.
Yeah, she has a single in this game as well. So 2 outs with runners on the corners. The first pitch coming all the way through. Montana Love popping out of the squat, trying to fake the throwdown. I'm a person who used to play catcher. I understand that with a runner on third, you want the person to go to second because there's no point in throwing it down, because then the person at third will score. This is a great choice by Montana Love. The 0-1 coming down, batted to Mead. Mead making the routine play to full and wider, and that retires Morgan Sunchild. So an excellent inning from the Beacons, and they find themselves alive here. Bottom of the 6th action coming to you live on the Bushnell Streaming Network.
Richardson.
Bottom of the sixth action, live on the Bushnell streaming network. The leadoff hitter, the home run hitter, the double hitter today as well. Violet Richardson up to bat against Ermshar. McKinley Ermshar, the clean slate pitch, firing away. On the inside part of the plate, but will be called for strike one. A little bit of a later call.
Yeah, and Violet Richardson, if she can get into one here and poke it out of the field, you know, that will be the mercy rule for the Beacons and will result in a win.
Ermshar delivers the second. Richardson pokes this one up, and it's out of here on the foul side of the right. So no balls and 2 strikes for Violet Richardson, and heavy hitter, but it's 2 for 2 so far. The 0-2 firing away just off the side of the plate, and Richardson catching ball 1. So bottom of the sixth, the score remains the same at 8-1. The 1-2 by Ermshar, delivering. Off the zone and will be called for ball 2. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes for Violet Richardson with no outs. She's seen 4 pitches. McKinley throws the 2-2, swings down low is Violet Richardson, and that gets McKinley's first strikeout of the afternoon. McKinley Ermshar making quick work of Violet Richardson.
Yeah, that's got to be a confidence booster for her, striking out the best offensive player on Bushnell. It's got to feel good.
And now Sarah Martin, who was a contributing factor to the bottom of the 5th cycle going on, and sees the first pitch come across the plate for ball 1. Sarah Martin re-entering that right side's batter's box. As Ermshar sets herself and winds. Swung all the way through is Martin, and now it's 1-1. Sarah Martin a little bit too excited. She knows that she got a little bit too in front of the ball. So the count 1-1 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. The Beacons lead 8-1. Ermshar delivers. This one lifted up high, and it's foul on the right side. So, and with that, Sarah Martin, a count of 1-2 with 1 out. Swings the bat a little bit. Puts that right foot on the back right line. Ermshar with the 1-2. This one batted up high again. It's going to be off the backstop. So 1 ball, 2 strikes now. And Sarah Martin doing an excellent job of seeing the ball come across the plate. The 1-2 from Ermshar on its way. Off the side of the plate and now make it tied. 2 apiece. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Ermshar with the 2-2 finds it and chopped up high by Sarah Martin as she gets under that one. So 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th for Bushnell and Sarah Martin. Sarah Martin, who's actually pitched a pretty great game, has 3 strikeouts so far. Sarah Martin seeing the 2-2 come across the plate, bats that one up high again, and seeing the foul ball come across.
Sarah Martin has been excellent on the mound today, as we've mentioned, really being able to limit the base runners in general, and having her defense really be able to make great plays behind her.
Yeah, Sarah Martin, who is 1 for 3 so far. That 3rd pitch thrown up high makes for ball 3. Libert having to hop out of the squat to go get the wild pitch, but will recenter herself. Sarah Martin re-enters the right side batter's box with a full count. The pitch on its way, chopped up high again on the right side of the field. Martin making excellent contact, but just trying to straighten it all the way through.
This has to be a record in a day for foul balls. Has to be.
We've had a lot of long at-bats with some foul balls through Game 1 and Game 2, so there's definitely a conversation to be had there. The full count from Ermshar on its way. This one almost laid down again on the left side baseline, but it's fouled. So full count here in the bottom of the 6th for Sarah Martin. Can't tell if that's an anxious smile or just a happy smile, but full count regardless for Sarah Martin and the Beacons, with one out looming on the top of their heads. McKinley Ermshar, who came in to relieve, only needs one more pitch. This one split up the middle by Sarah Martin. It's going to go deep center field. She will turn two, running it as fast as she can, and she plants herself. Sarah Martin splitting the middle of the field for a good double.
Excellent piece of hitting from Sarah Martin, really being patient, waiting for her pitch, staying disciplined at the plate, able to take full advantage of that and poke one out to the wall.
And now Riley Peeler has an opportunity to try to get the go-ahead run to win this game, and Sarah Martin on second, trying to get her to third or get her home. Riley Peeler has been walked every single at bat today.
Wow.
Yeah. What? Yeah, at least through game two, I should say. Not, And Riley Peeler taking her time on the left side of batter's box. The pitch coming down off the side of the plate. And now with only one strike. Interesting. Ermshar delivers the pitch off the side of the plate again, but will be called for strike two. So the count 0-2 for Riley Peeler, who's trying to bat in Sarah Martin on second.
Yeah, and if I'm Ermshar, I'm going right back to that fastball.
Sends this one high at the eyes and off the plate. So ball one called as Libbert hops out of the squat to try to protect with Martin on second. So the 1-2 pitch, firing home. This one batted hard down at the field. It drops off the glove of Ybarra. And trying to come in, and she will score. And that's going to do it for the Bushnell Beacons. That was Marina Castaneda, who was pinch running.
Let's take game two of our doubleheader.
For Sarah Martin. And with that,
Back out here tomorrow at 11
a
a.m.
double
for game 3.
that was hit deep into left field keeps the Beacons alive. And as the Beacons would say, light that beacon. 9-1 here in game two against Carroll and the Fighting Saints. And what an excellent game by both teams. Both played extremely well and tough, but it always just comes down to one inning that gets away. For the Beacons, that was game one, an inning top of the seventh. In game two, that was the Carroll Fighting Saints in the bottom of the fifth. And it's funny how life plays, but with this, Bushnell now advances to 6-11, finally catches their first in-conference win of the CCC, and has broken a 9-game losing streak against the Carroll Fighting Saints. What an excellent afternoon for softball here at Rich Schwab Field.
Yeah, and absolutely wonderful for Bushnell to get their first win in conference in dominant fashion as well, winning 9-1, scoring 6 runs in the 5th inning, being led by Violet Richardson with her double and her home run early in the game, being able to get the support from her teammates. You just got to feel good if you're a Beacons fan today.
Absolutely. What better way to finish out the day than to grab a win against somebody who is only 2 spots ahead of you in the CCC conference. For the Beacons, this is a tone setter for the rest of your weekend. And there are 2 more games of this 4-game series tomorrow. And that's going to be Ryan Oppenheimer on those calls with Ronan Belding. And I believe that's going to do it here in Rich Schwab Field. My name is CJ Flores. Alongside me is Jacob Dennis as we close out today here on Rich Schwab, where the Beacons catch a game-winning dub 9-1 on a walk-off. Have a great night, and sayonara.